It's week 8 in the series, which means it's moving day today, and it's going to be a monumental day as we could see championship leagues change or expand. So it's time to load up 3 of the big 8, as I call them on iRacing, for tonight. The Race Anywhere World Series is live at Daytona, only here on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, everybody. I am Craig King. As per usual, Steve proudly with me on the cameras as per usual. And like I said, it's Daytona. What more do you need to know about Daytona? We've been here for the whole of January, whether you've been doing the Daytona 24, the Daytona 500. Everywhere you've looked over the last month, you have seen this massive track. And of course, it's the 3.56 mile, the 5.7 kilometer length version. Of course, created in 1985, this road course, so not exactly been a very old track, if old really now 40 years. That still sounds young to me. But it's very crucial what this track can bring, and we have seen it so many times in the World Series. When we talk about fuel saving, we talk about slipstreams, this is where it originated. When they said that this track could be boring, we had 8 pros in a line for 60 minutes. I'm getting ahead of myself, getting very excited because I do love Daytona, as do a lot of these drivers, even if they are a little bit sick of it after the whole month we've spent. So a quick rundown, of course, from the championship standings before we get ready. And we'll start with the amateurs, and Michael Patterman is currently sitting top of the world in the amateurs on 610 points, but he's only 10 points ahead of Juan Manuel Kea. We're going to moving day. A key fact here, Patterman does not have any drop weeks, so he cannot afford to have a bad result now. Juan Manuel, he does have drop weeks. Simon Dodd in P3, 535, and it's so close for that P3 for everybody else. Dean Timms, 515. Andrew Madel, 510. Timothy van der Broek, 505. And even Werner S. with 495. All in with a chance for that final spot on the podium. Now for the Pro-Ams, it's Alvin Kelberg leading the way with 575. But he is not here tonight, and he's already taken a drop week. So we're going to see a new leader tonight, and it could be Daniel Sedgley, who sits on 545. I know 30 points sounds like a big gap, but with 100 points up for grab, it is gettable. Ethan Bass sits third with 530, and it is a battle for P3 again. Tom will be P2 almost. Thomas Reiter, 525. Mitchell Mashalkoverd on 505 in 5th place. Of course, Sophie Ridpad sitting on 490 in 6th. What could happen there? With everything being shaken up today with no Alvin Kelberg. In the pros, it is a 4-car battle, really. Oscar Copa and Sean Campbell both sit on 595. On countback, that will go to Oscar Copa for more wins. James Armstrong with 515, and Fabian Scheistek will sit on 445. So it is looking more and more like that is going to be a 2-car battle. And really, with 3 races left, if Copa and Campbell both trade a victory, and then we have another issue like what happened last week at Zolder, and James or Fabian takes the victory, well, it will go to Oscar for the championship. So all to play for in the pros, well, all to play for everywhere. You think about it. That Pro-Am battle promises to be very interesting when you think about it, because with no Kelberg, everything changes. So what are we looking for when we talk about Daytona? We are talking about a lot of straights. For the BMWs, I always like to joke that they're 5-gear cars, and for the BMW tonight, it will be a case of having to use the 6th gear, and that 6th gear comes pretty quickly. The BMW used to be a very, very strong car around here, and for a lot of these drivers, it's probably the first time they've done Daytona this year without any BOP adjustments in the GT3s. So that promises to be very interesting. The Lamborghini also at the moment proving to be pretty good. It's a very good all-round car. And that Ferrari, well, we know there's a couple of Ferraris out there in the amateurs, and it's just not showing its worth at the moment. Just not unable to just get that top speed like it used to in the old days. People remember last year when the old Ferrari GT3 used to be very good on top speed. Unfortunately, that is not the case at the moment, but it is still a strong car. It's just at the moment, that Lamborghini, it just looks very good. What about those Fords? There's 2 Fords out there, and one of them is currently the second fastest time in Pro-Ams, and the other one is the second fastest time in the Pros, only by 0.004 of a second in practice. We're looking just under the 42s for some of the Pros, but looking at it, everybody's going around that 43-second mark and a couple of guys dipping into the 44s. But pace will be irrelevant when it comes to everybody staying together. Key factors here for these drivers is stay together in the infield, slipstream yourself all the way around the track, get to turn 1, make a move or make some fuel saving. That is what a lot of these drivers will do, and that is what you will probably see. As practice ends, we are getting ready to take the grid. And for the amateurs, Achrad Al Haddad is going to lead them off with Goetz Kaseki behind him, then Angel Padero, Werner S, Timmy V, Van der Broek, Andrew Madel, Dean Timms, Simon Dodd, Juan Manuel Kea, and Michael Patterman. That is the order for the amateurs. For the Pro-Ams, it is going to be... we go with the Pros very quickly. Fabian Scheistek will be leading them off with James Armstrong in P2, then Campbell and Copa as it goes in Championship. And, of course, Championship standings for the Pro-Ams, Stuart Reynolds, Harry Wills, Sophie Ridpad, Mitchell Marshalkover, Thomas Reiter, Ethan Bass, and Daniel Sedgley. And there you go with those amateurs. Achrad Al Haddad leading them away with Goetz Kaseki beside him. Then Angel Padero, Werner S, there's Van der Broek. And then you can see Dean Timms, Simon Dodd, Manuel Kea, and Michael Patterman. Is there anybody we're going to be looking at tonight that we think might have a chance to run away with it? Well, I can't really see it. It's going to be very interesting. It's whoever's got the best pace in the infield. And we all know how tough those 2 horseshoes can be around here. I know that sounds very crazy to talk about the horseshoes being very crucial, but cars have gone around. They have lost their pace a little bit. It is very hard to, well, I say lost their pace. They've lost the back of the car. We've even seen cars in practice losing it at the kink, which is very weird. Very weird, especially on these cars. But the first lap will be very crucial with those cold tyres, because the cold tyres will be very... well, I wouldn't say very slippery, but they will be slippery. And I have seen before, and it wouldn't surprise me, even these conditions, 22 Celsius track temp, that we see some slipping around here. So remember, with week 13 coming up on iRacing next week, there is a bye week. So these drivers will have this week, and then it will be 2 weeks to prepare for the rest of the races. We're about to go green for the Pros, and it should be very simply Fabian Scheistek will lead them away. Will the RSR boys get away quickly? That is the question. Who will take the lead for the RSR boys as the green flag drops? That's not official. We wait for Fabian. He catches them going, and you know what? It is just going to be a simple 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Pros. There goes Copa, just getting ahead of Campbell there. But that looks to be the way they go. And we're going to get straight in to the Pro-Ams. Stuart Reynolds just catches them off a little bit. And there's going to be a little bit of slipstreaming straight away. Is anybody going to try and get a jump here? Sophie Ridpad tries to get past Harry Wills. They almost come together. They keep it away from each other. That's very good. They're going to have a move coming up any moment. And they do come together, actually. They do come together, but they hold on to it. The amateurs now holding in right now. They're all coming through pretty clean at the moment. Padero taking some moves. Watch out there. Kaseki and Padero now trading positions. You see Van der Broek now trying to do it. Van der Broek's gone off. Wow, Van der Broek losing it. And he takes out the guy at the back of the field. Is that Al Haddad? I believe that is Michael Patterman. Sorry, no, it is one man. We'll get that. Sorry, it's Simon Dodd. Simon Dodd got caught out. Sorry, I apologize. Simon Dodd got caught out there. Here it is on that replay. You probably just see the car just losing it. This is Michael Patterman. He loses it, and then we get another car just lose it there. It was Van der Broek losing it. And that is such a shame there. There is Werner S as well. Werner S has had a moment as well, and that looks like the second horseshoe. Oh, it was the kink. It was actually the kink. He lost it at the kink. and he's still fighting it at the moment, but Badero will lead them away. And also, by the way, love to see what happened in the Pro-Ams. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Marschalkowerd is in P2, clicking up 2 spots already in the Pro-Ams on the back of Harry Wills at the moment. This is Badero at the moment we're looking at the moment. I'm going to keep my eyes on the Pro-Ams. If the amateurs come through the bus stop for the first time, are we going to see anybody make a mistake? We are not. Look at this at the moment with the Pro-Am. There is Thomas Reiter trying to with Ethan Bass. And there is Marschalkowerd with Wills. Behind them is Sophie Ridpad and Stuart Reynolds. Is Marschalkowerd going to try and go around the outside here? That's going to be very risky. He says no. Ridpad tried to go around the outside as well and loses out. And that's going to set up Stuart Reynolds for a move. Will Stuart Reynolds try anything? Harry Wills with a slide! What a save from Harry Wills! I know he spins, but he's been able to keep that off the grass and to keep that away from everybody. He will take the Joker. That is literally the infield they used for the Joker here. So that is all that. And now you see Dean Timms. He's having his own little battle. This is what we predicted to happen. Dean Timms going side by side with Badero, trying to go around the outside. Can he do it? Meanwhile, Madel is getting caught up by Gasecki. Can he do anything? Madel holds on to that P3. But Badero now battling on with Dean Timms, and that's a car almost going wide there. And it is all popping off, and we'll just get a quick breather as Fabian Scheisek continues to lead the pros. Like I said, this is what we were expecting to see. A lot of close running until you get to the first corner. And actually, we're going to see... we almost had 3 wide in the Pro-Ams. You see Sophie Ridpad just overtaking Marschalkowerd in the timing tower. I've got my eyes on the Pro-Ams at the moment while we've got these beautiful cameras looking at the pros. As Fabian, does he hold off James Armstrong here? I think he does, but that is Oscar Copa looking like he wants to make a move, and he decides against it. Be a lift, it will be a hit of the clutch, it will be braking a little bit early, and this looks like a NASCAR race right now between these Pro-Ams. Where do you look with these Pro-Ams at the moment? All in a line right now. Stuart Reynolds is going to try and use the overspeed to get around Marschalkowerd, and he will get that because Marschalkowerd has no response. Mind you, he's gone very wide, has Reynolds, and they're going to be taking this now side by side down into the first horseshoe. Does Reynolds go for the late braking? He does. They don't want to be battling. You go battling, you lose out on time. You lose out of time, you lose that slipstream. That's a very brave move there from Marschalkowerd, just holding on, realizing the situation. There's no need to be battling after the first horseshoe, in my opinion. If you're side by side here, it's just going to end up dangerous. If you're side by side or trying to take it into the kink side by side, no chance whatsoever. It's such a risky corner. And then when you come down here into turn 6, well, turn 6 onto the oval there, the same thing. And you can see it's very chaotic seeing just the timing tower at the moment. A lot of orange as Madel goes wide there as Badero gets by. And Gasecki also gets in, and they almost come together there as Madel going to try and make a move into turn 6. Door closing a little bit there, and he's unable to get that move. What about James Armstrong? Will he do anything down onto the start finish straight? No, look at that lift. Look at that lift. Holding off there, and the lift there just allows him to just stay behind, and there's the clutch. There's the clutch in, a little bit of braking, down into 5th. Brilliant driving there. Because Armstrong knows very well what to do here. He's done it many times, and now we got double 2x2. We see Reynolds trying to make the move on Sophie Ridpad. Will make that move. Will there be a counter move? No. Right to get the head of Marschalkowerd as well. As it's all going around. We see constant moving through the field. Like I said, you'll see a lot of orange on the timing tower, which is less than half a second. As there goes Ridpad. Sophie able to hold on to that inside line and get that position back. Some really good fighting here by the Pro-Ams. It's just what you expect to see, if I'm brutally honest. It's fantastic just to see, can they make any moves? Can anybody make a mistake? They all know the situation. They all know what they're expecting. And at the moment, it is going exactly to plan. They got 43 laps of this. Maybe 42 if the pit stops are slow. but it will be very crucial. And one thing I want to point out there is you just saw Reynolds going high. High on the banking is not good for these cars. If anything, because of the slope of the bankings, it does not give you the speed. You actually lose a bit of speed. But Reynolds, he's going to have to try and make this around the outside. You know what? He just can't start line up for Ridpad. And he says to Sophie, this is my position. And I don't think that's the best time to make the overtake before the bus stop. Because now look at this pack of three. Look at them. And in fact, it would not surprise me. Is that Reynolds having to serve a slowdown, or has he just boxed out Ridpad? He's allowed Reiter to make that move. Not entirely sure what the games are right now, but now Reiter is there with Reynolds, and here comes Ridpad. Sophie's going to try and make a move or see if she's got anything. That double toe is really good. She's going to have to try and go around the outside of Reiter. This is going to be one hell of a move, and she sticks it, but she's overdone it. In fact, she's almost going on the grass, and all of a sudden, in a battle for P1 and P2, has now turned into a battle to save P3, as Mashalkoverd has just now caught her with the slipstream, and behind him is Ethan Bass and Daniel Sedgley, which is very interesting to say the least, because Ethan Bass hasn't really done a lot when it comes to the Ford. This man, though, in the Ford, Fabian Scheisek, he's been doing quite a bit, holding on to the front. They're all matching times at the moment in the pros. And they're just understanding, they just need to just keep it clean. Almost looked like a bump draft there. It is Daytona, after all. Looked like a bump draft, not a bump draft, as Armstrong holds on. And I expected this to a degree, if I am honest, when it comes to Daytona with these drivers. Oscar Copa, James Armstrong, Sean Campbell are no strangers to 75-minute races here from the World Series at Daytona. They wrote the book, and they know what they're doing. They may go for little overtakes, but at the end of the day, they may just decide it's better to just stay behind and save as much fuel as possible, because they are on tanks that will only give you about 30 minutes. That's 30 minutes of fuel. Look at that beautiful camera around turn one, down into the first horseshoe. And like I said, they only get a certain amount of time to make the move. As Ridpad, it looks like she wants to try and make this move again. You know what? She may hold on to this inside line. No, just couldn't. That is so tough. And also near the back, I think Mashalkoverd had just had to take a slowdown penalty on at the bus stop. It does look like that, because he was sitting third in class. We'll get the replay right here. No, he just got squeezed out on the outside. Even Bass managed to get him there, and so did Daniel Sedgley. So Mashalkoverd goes to sixth in class, but still in it at the moment. And of course, a lot of these drivers, they got to realize in the Pro-Ams, this is a fantastic opportunity to gain points. With Kelberg not here, with Kelberg having no drop week, it's all about what they can gain on Kelberg. And at the moment, they will all be leaping Albin Kelberg, which means everybody goes up a position. So that will be one to keep eyes on, if I'm brutally honest, because anything can and will happen when it comes to the World Series, especially with a moment like that. Armstrong again, he's just going to use a bit of clutch, bit of lift, realizing that it's best to just stay behind. Daytona 500 was last week, but he's still using those Daytona skills, just like Thomas Reiter is on the back of Stuart Reynolds. And maybe Sophie will think twice about doing this again. But she goes for it. She almost loses it, and that was too close for comfort. You got to think, when Ridpad really trying to turn the wick up here, try to drive aggressive. Well, not aggressive, but not fuel saving. I haven't heard any lift there going into turn one. May cost her. She'll get a little bit of fuel saving from the slipstream, but not a lot when it comes to some of these drivers doing lift and coast, which is what we're seeing with these four pro drivers at the moment, to be honest. Fabian is the man, was the odd man out, because if Fabian with no help, he's going to have to find a way to fuel save or go that extra lap that the others can do, but with no one there, he cannot do so. What can he look to do? Well, again, he can't clutch unless they know he's clutching. He can't lift unless they know he's lifting. So does he just go flat out, and does he control the pace? Well, at the moment, it feels like he's going flat out. It feels like he's controlling the pace of the field. The pace is good, though. The pace is very good. You start to see he comes across the line. It's a 43.8. And they're all doing 43.8s in the Pro. So they are matching the times at the moment. And to be fair, when you look around the top groups like these guys, Reiter, Reynolds, Ridpad, guys and girls, sorry, you'll notice that their times will be almost identical. And in fact, here comes Reiter to try and make a move on Stuart Reynolds and can't make it work. And Ridpad's almost going to try and squeeze into a gap that is closing and just holds on to that position. But all of a sudden, there's a Ford right there in the background. I wonder what that could be. That's Ethan Bast just slowly making moves. We're not even 15 minutes into the race. And you can see that the Pro-Avs are getting a bit dicey at the moment. They're looking to make moves. They're looking to try and hold on. Anything to gain that little advantage. Well, the amateurs have just got very interesting. You'll start to see the timing towers has just made a bit of a change. Andrew Mado out of nowhere has just come back up to P3. Dean Timms did have the lead, but just lost it to Juan Manuel. So I'm sure we'll get a replay on that. There is James Armstrong at the moment, though, giving some more bump drafting to that Ford. I'm surprised that Ford can even take a bump draft, knowing how old it is, but continues along the way. And again, 43.6, 43.6. Now, here's Juan Manuel Correa, and that is Dean Timms going a bit wide there by the looks of it. Juan Manuel gets that position. Dean Timms going very wide. There's Andrew Madel as well in the background. So actually, that looked like it was a different driver. That didn't look like it was Dean Timms. But we'll get eyes on the amateurs in due course. They've been pretty spread out recently. As you can see, the pro battle, there's nothing. You'll see how close it is in the pros. And you'll realize that the pros are just holding on, realizing that a little bit of fuel save the tires. Even though it's 22 Celsius, save the tires, keep it calm. Don't need to do anything. Pro-Ams, they're trying to do that, but they also are fighting for those positions. For the amateurs, it's just back and forward. And Juan Manuel Correa had led them, now has the lead again. Dean Timms will be P2. Like I said, Dean Timms had about a second and a half lead last time I looked at the timing towers. And that's just gone down. And he's got Andrew Madel right behind him as the rest of the field. I mean, a little bit of problems. I wouldn't say too many problems, but it's more of a case of probably getting a couple slowdowns at the bus stop or a little bit of inconsistency on the throttle. Remember, a lot of these drivers, even though there is a bit of traction control on these cars, these drivers, they will have to deal with low wing settings on the cars for the best speed possible. And to be honest, I know we've got an hour left. We've only had 15, 16 minutes here. But a lot of these battles at the moment do remind me of the finish to this year's Daytona 24, where we had teams, two Porsches, battling it out for the final 2 hours side by side until it all came to head on the final lap at the bus stop. Or, hang on a second, Sophie Ridpad, that's very brave. Is that a double overtake around the outside? Sophie Ridpad! What a move! They just let her have that. They got caught sleeping from that move. Now, can she hold on to this? Wow, just watch this. She's side by side with Reiter going into it, and she brakes super late. but they've given her all the space. She hasn't had to overdo the corner. She's done that to perfection. I've seen an overtake around the outside before, but a double around the outside. I mean that's gotta be a clip, surely. That's gotta be one of those that you send into top 10. Just fantastic move there. That's what we will be talking about. Wow. You won't be seeing any of that in the pros at the moment, though, because it's very quiet. We'll always keep our eyes on them, though, just in case somebody decides to make a move. Campbell not having the best of times out there at the present moment. But he's still in the slipstream. That's the important bit. Still in that slipstream. That's all you need at this race. All you need in this race is to stay in the slipstream. You can see a lot of drivers will be trying to, I wouldn't say break the toe. Break the toe would be the worst thing you could do right now because you'll be losing time on the banks. I mean, you have got to look and just see if you can make a move somewhere to try and disrupt proceedings. But apart from the Pro-Am battle we saw just there, it is pretty quiet out on the Western Front, as I say. Looks like Andrew Maidell's had to have a slowdown of some sort. Looks like he's just lost a little bit of time. That's the one good thing about Daytona. They say it's an easy track, you can pick it up. But when you look at the timing tower and you start to see a number just go too high, you know there's been a mistake, and 9 times out of 10, it is going to be that bus stop, or as they now call it, Daytona. Now with the deal between the ACO and, or is it WEC, sorry, and IMSA, the Mulsanne chicane is one of the Mulsanne chicanes is now called Daytona, and the bus stop is now called Le Mans. So all the name changes are happening, and I can't really keep up with the name changes at Le Mans. Basically, every year, the Mulsanne chicanes, the Unideris chicane, sorry, they are always changing just by the sponsors. One year it's Forza, the next it's Microsoft, then it's Xbox, and one's always PlayStation. So you just never know. So to call one of them now Daytona, that's just going to be really confusing when we come to Le Mans for me. But it's still the first and second chicane for me at Le Mans, and it's still the bus stop for me, and it's still a free car battle at the front of the Pro-Ams here. And there's another battle with Daniel Sedgley trying to get around Ethan Bass, but to no avail. Mashalkova just watches, but look at everybody just get bunched up all of a sudden. And just look at it now. Top 6 are separated by, well, how do we call that really? I mean, 2 seconds? Just top of my head, maybe 2 seconds. That's what it feels like at the moment. It's just seeing them just all going together, and just if something happens, and it just concertinas everybody up. And this is what we're getting, and you'll see they'll spread out a little bit. They'll come into turn 6, sorry, I can't remember which one that always is. Entry onto the oval, as I like to know. And now just watch them all group together. 6 of the best Pro-Ams, and they're still all together. Mashalkova just losing out a bit there at the back. But Reynolds, look at that, Reynolds with a lift. Reiter trying to get all the slipstream from Ridpad. Ethan Bass just holding back. Daniel Sedgley just watching it all. And Mashalkova is just in the back. Probably just holding on to his hip flask at the moment, or his thermal flask. Just taking a drink and going. It will be time soon enough. We've only had 20 minutes. We've still got another 10 minutes before they start thinking about pit stops. And that promises to be a very interesting moment. Even Bass looking like he wants to try and go around, but he decides against it. He did look, you can just see there on the background, he did look like he wanted to try and make a move around. Did not work for him. But he had the ability to do that and not lose time. With the little gap he had to Daniel Sedgley there, he knew that if he tried that and made a minor mistake, he was not going to get shuffled to the back of this train. Now, this is Simon Dodd. He had a bit of damage earlier in the race on the first lap, and he just loses it there, trying to take a bit too much speed into the second horseshoe. I think we're all a bit guilty of that mistake sometime in our iRacing history. But, I mean, knock on wood, I haven't done it for a while. I don't know about anybody else, but that's the first time we've seen it, and I don't think it will be the last time, because there will be some hard racing near the end. I am curious to see, though, if we get all these drivers. That is bump drafting, sorry, with Armstrong. That's very interesting. I never wanted to see the inside of a Ford GT3 like that before, but still, it's very amazing to just see exactly how close James is getting. It really does look like that is a bump draft from what I'm seeing. So we're not getting any bump drafts here. I guess really, there's a nose cam. How close is Reiter going to get? Not going to. And Ethan Bass right behind. You'll see him right on the side now. He just slots in. Reynolds is sorry. You see right there. Brilliant. Could not get in and lose it out. And is he going to get shuffled here? Daniel Sedgley may have something to say about this, but Ethan Bass has the inside. Yeah, he lets Ethan Bass go, and he realizes it's best to do that and not let them go. Very interesting, though, because these pro-ams are all doing 44.9s. Bass with a 44.8 using that overspeed. Sedgley a 44.7. Mashalkovod a 44.6. He's at the back of the field getting a double, triple toe, whatever you want to call it. Then you've got Harry Wills, who we haven't really talked about. And he just did a 44 flat. So he is now 3.5 seconds away from this train. And if they keep up to this pace, he will get back to them. Now, that will be one to keep an eye on, because that would just go to show that the pace is not there at the moment in this pack. Not that's a bad thing, but it just goes to show if somebody wants to make a breakaway, they probably could. And we have seen that before in the World Series. We talk about this fuel-saving battle, this slipstream battle. But at the end of the day, if you have the run, some people will take the run and just drive on without a fuel saving and will probably win the race just on raw pace. The mind game starting to play here. Stuart Reynolds was already lifted away here. He realizes what's going on. He does not want any of this, and he wants to keep it safe, and he does. And Ethan Bass decides as well it's not worth the battle. But in all due fairness, this is Reiter's best chance, and he just could not make that late move. But he's making Redpath answer questions. He's providing the questions, and we're not talking Trivial Pursuit. We're talking Mastermind here. It doesn't look like it is Sophie's specialty subject, and it looks like it is general knowledge, because the moves are just starting to look a little bit tentative. Ridpad just overdoing it a bit on that first horseshoe. We saw it there, and we've seen the weaving as well, trying to break the toe. Which, of course, you're going up on the bank, you lose a little bit of speed. Not a lot, but it's enough if you're trying to have this little battle where you have to start thinking. So is this where Reiter decides, I'm going to try? So he is going to try. He is side by side. But he will have to take this around the outside. And you know what? I think Sophie's just lifted. I think Sophie's just given this up. Sophie's given this up. She has. And Reiter's going to take this lead. Now, is that an indication that he wants to start pitting soon? I mean, they've got about another 2 laps before they can come into, before they would be pitting. So it would not surprise me if that is the case. We'll keep eyes on that. And in fact, Sophie comes in. Now, Sophie comes in early. That's interesting. All that time in the lead. Mashalkovod also coming in. Well, Reiter tries to go around the... Sorry, Reynolds tries to go around the outside of Reiter and does not get it. So, Ridpad, Mashalkovod, and Wills all in the pits. Normally, I'd be saying, oh, here comes Paterman. Manuel, Timms, Madel, Paterman, all in the pits. That's going to be Gasecki. And they get in. Interesting thing to talk about here, they do have the pit lane rule, and you have to adhere to the fast lane in the pit lane. And of course, if you've ever seen any race at Daytona, the 24, the 500, the fast lane is very small compared to the entirety of the pit lane. So, one to keep eyes out on just to see what happens. But you start to see a lot of drivers here taking different movement in the pit lane. Mashalkovod comes out. Look at that, 41 seconds. Mashalkovod is from Daniel Sedgley. That gives you an idea of 52 seconds from cone to cone. So do any of these drivers come in now? Well, we thought Fabian would have to come in. We knew Fabian could not pit with the rest of these guys. And now Armstrong has this lead. This is where Copa starts thinking, I could turn the screw right now. And I could take command of this race. Will he? Possibly. He was starting to fret there. We'll wait and see. But these two have got to come in soon, surely. And I think they're both going to come in this time. In fact, yes, they do. But Ethan Bass stays out. And this is also an interesting one. Ridpad has not gotten ahead of Mashalkovod. And now she's going to have to try and make moves here. Thinks against it this time. Also, look at Harry Wills. 2.5 seconds now. Now, remember, Mashalkovod was at the back of the train in the Pro-Ams. So, when you look at it like that, Wills has gained a second again over the pack. Here's Oscar Copa. What can he do? If anything, nothing at the moment. There's Ridpad making the move. I think Mashalkovod's just accepted it. It's in no hurry to make moves. But the question is, do they get ahead of the rest of the drivers? It's going to be very close. There's Andrew Madel at the moment. Here's the rest of the Pro-Ams. And they're at the back of the field. Look at that. It's not worked out for Ridpad. It's not worked out for some of these drivers. That's crazy. That has really surprised me. That they can be so... Well, the group is still there. But look how the group has now shifted. It's still Reynolds leading. It's Reiter there behind him. But then it's Daniel Sedgley, Sophie Ridpad, and then Mashalkovod. And Harry Wills, do not count Harry Wills out of this race yet. But all of a sudden, Reynolds is on his own. We were talking about this pace. And it's going to be interesting to see, can he hold this pace? You know, will it be a case of Reiter going and trying to make moves? Can he make moves even? That's the question. Well, somebody that is making moves is the pros, because Oscar Copa has taken a very different strategy in the pros. He's short-fueled. He spent 5 seconds less in the pit. That is equated to a 5-second lead. James Armstrong overtakes Fabian Scheisseg. Sean Campbell is still at the back of this field. But it is very interesting just to see where that has put them. Because all of a sudden, Copa is just on his own. And Campbell in P4, he's going to have to do some work to try and catch up to his teammate. By the way, Ethan Bass came out of the pits after he did one extra lap. He's at the back of the train. But more importantly, look at all that yellow in the Pro-Am. There's another yellow we can almost look to add, because behind Ethan Bass is Harry Wills, and I think Harry Wills is in slipstream range. says 3.9. I'm seeing him right at the back at the moment. There he is. It's just at the back of the. He can start to see them. He's just kicking the tail up and down the straights. He's going to lose that. But he's just there. And after a bad start to the race, well, remember, he had that amazing save. All right, he still went sideways, but the car's twitching. And he's managed to save the car, not crash it, and not hit anybody as Ethan Bass gets past Mashalkoverd. That was just a good move from Harry Wills. And now, the question is, can he catch up? Well, with that little overtake move happening just before the bus stop, Bass and Mashalkoverd are going to lose out on the slipstream here to the rest of the field. Harry Wills is trying to make his comeback. It'll be very interesting to see if he's able to make positions. Goes a bit deep, though. That's very deep. He's trying a very aggressive cutback, but taking too much speed in before turning in. Don't think he's going to be able to get that. He does not look for a move here. Reynolds and Reiter continue there. I mean, we've now got two little break-offs here. We've got Reynolds and Reiter. Daniel Sedgley there just on his own. He's got Sophie Ridpad trying to hold on. And that's about it. James Armstrong still holding off Fabian Scheiseg. Fabian's in his own little battle at the moment with Sean Campbell. And Campbell needs to make a move here. He needs to hope that he's able to save a little bit of fuel. Because you look at it, Copa taking 5 seconds less in the pit stops probably equates to 1 or 2 laps less in the pits. That's what I'm thinking. There going to be any moves here? Well, Fabian is almost going to get shuffled to the back. If Campbell tries to make this move around the outside, he does not. Well, that could have been close. Thomas Reiter continues the battle on Sean Reynolds. Just a message there. Simon Dodd, unfortunately, had to retire the car. And it's going to be tough for him now to get a P3 in the championship. Also, I think Vanderbroek also retired early on. Harry Wills, he wants to make a move on the Porsche there, the Color Shock Racing Porsche of Mashalkoverd. And I don't think Mitchell will fight this too hard. He realizes the best game here is to just stay in the slipstream, pick up whatever points you can get. But it's been a very quiet race in the Pro-Ams. I say that. There's Ethan Bass and Sophie Ridpad having a little bit of a come together there in the first horseshoe. Nothing too serious, but it does close the gap now. Harry Wills starts to just crawl in, and Harry Wills pulls in to them. It pulls Mashalkoverd in, and all of a sudden we get a train that gets bigger and bigger. Just one to look at. Now for the amateurs, of course, we're not going to go to them. We're just looking at the timing towers. You can see Andrew Madel did lose a position in the pits. Kaseki gaining. Well, Kaseki not gaining. You can see he's 21 seconds behind at the moment. And that is true. It's not exactly gone very well in the amateurs for some of those drivers. The biggest field we've got out there. To give you an idea, with Simon Dodd now retired the car, Angel Madero also retired the car. Werner S is 5 seconds behind Kaseki, and you can see how far Kaseki is from the rest of the crew. And this is Ethan Bass going side by side with Sophie Ridpad. What is going to happen here between the two of them? Are we going to see a move from the Ford around the outside? It's going to be tough. The slipstream did belong to Sophie, but it's not enough. And that Ford just continues on. Is he going to close the door? He closes the door. Ethan Bass goes up to 4th place. But all of a sudden, everybody's grouped in again. There's Harry Wills, currently sitting P6. What can he do? He's had trouble before getting past Sophie Ridpad earlier in the season. Not saying that, Sophie was blocking. It was more, he even admitted that he could not get past Sophie. He could not work out how Sophie was able to make the car so wide. And he's got to now think to himself, how do I do this again? He knows what these Fords are capable of, these FCW Racing Fords. Ferraris, sorry. That's because I'm looking at Ethan Bass. We know what these Ferraris are capable of, as much as we know that they're not the best car out there compared to some of the others. Can Wills make a move? Can Bass make a move? Don't expect to see a move here before the bus stop, because that would limit your chances. Ethan Bass asking questions, and he's going to try it, and he goes for it. Really am surprised at that. Bunches everybody up, and now Harry Wills has got a bit of a run. This could be interesting for Harry Wills. He now looks to go. Will he go a bit too early? He goes a bit early, because you look at it. Sophie Ridpad's got that slipstream with a teammate. Wills has to come back down. If that was me, I probably would look to try and feather the throttle before trying to make a move here. Up the front of the Pro-Ams, though. Reiter, Reynolds, they're going to go side by side again. But Reiter holds on to it. Meanwhile, for the rest of them, look at the chaos. It's almost three wide. It's almost three wide. And Harry Wills is going to try that double overtake that Sophie Ridpad did. And you know what? He's going by side now with Daniel Sedgley. Is he going to make this stick? Is he going to make this stick? By heck, he's made it stick. What a move from Harry Wills. We were praising Sophie with the double overtake around the outside. But Harry, pure as a cucumber, makes that move stick. What a move. It is all going on at the moment in the Pro-Ams. And meanwhile, for the pros, we have that action. We go straight back here. Well, Sean Campbell's taken over P2 from these guys. And that's what he needs. Theoretically, he's now 5 points behind Copa in the championship. But can he catch up to Copa? That gap is 6 seconds. Does Armstrong go to make a move here? Does he go for that little bump drafting he's been doing before? Let's just watch. Is there clutch holding? There is. What about Fabian? Does he go for this? No. So in theory, Copa's gained a second over these drivers since the pit stop. And he's going to have to come in a couple laps early. He won't get any help. What can he do? I'll tell you what Michael Patterman can do. He's going to battle Dean Timms into the bus stop. Timms gets hold of P2 again, and it's brought Madel into contention. But Harry Wills is not going to try and do it again around the outside. No, he's not! Oh, I almost thought he came into contact there with Wills. Sorry. I thought he almost going to... thought Wills was going to come into contact with Bass there for a moment. That was all too a bit scary there. But all of a sudden, we got a train of 5 while the rest of the field is just battling. It is now 2 groups. It is that lead battle. Just like this one, Dean Timms has to hold on again. It really does feel very entertaining. It is a game of... It really does feel like... It really does feel like you're playing Uno. You're playing some sort of card game or something. Top trumps or, high-low. What card have you got? Each round, each lap, it's a different card. It's a different move. Just like this, Armstrong's now going to try something different with Campbell. He's going to try and go around the outside. They're side by side, and they'll stay side by side. Now Armstrong will have to try and go around the outside of turn 1. But Campbell's decided it's not worth it. I could use this for fuel saving. That's one card. On the other flip side, a few laps ago, we saw Harry Wills going to, making a double overtake. That's just another car. It really does feel like every turn, every lap, they're using a different card. And then you've got to try and best them. Now for Gasecki, this is the turn 1, and I bet you he's taking too much speed. He has, and he tries to get that car around, and it does not work. Now, can Harry Wills do this time? You've got to be kidding me. He's done it, They're going to be side by side, but the inside line will belong to Harry Wheels, and I think Ethan can try and battle this all he wants. Side by side they go. That exit line is just so strong for the inside car that Harry Wheels does another move around the outside. And you can see Dean Timms there. He's able to stop that happening to him. But for Harry Wheels, able to do that. And now all of a sudden, that is Timms just having a bit of a moment there. Paterman gets by. Madel gets by. Crucial moment for some of these drivers with the championships. Remember the championship standings in the amateurs. Juan Manuel currently sitting in 10 points behind Paterman in the championship. Juan Manuel will only gain 5 extra points if it stays like this. For Madel, he needs to get ahead of Timms. There's 5 points between them as they're battling. They could possibly have a fight now for P3 in the championship. So if Madel stays ahead of Timms, they're level on points going into the rest week, which will be very interesting. We've got to keep eyes there. We'll have to keep eyes as well when it comes to the Pro-Ams, because at the moment, Stuart Reynolds, he's not in a contention to try and win at the moment, but a win right now would put him near a chance of victory. For Thomas Reiter, it may give him just what he needs to make the move up the championship standings. Now, there has been a little bit of 2x2 action, side-by-side action in the Pro-Ams, and it's still going on between Wills and Ethan Bass. And you know what, Ethan Bass, we may get a camera on this right now. There we are. They're still side-by-side, and the inside for the kink belongs to Bass, but Wills is going to keep fighting this. Mr. Too Wide, as he used to be known, has forced Bass wide and got that position. And Sophie Rigpad's gone off. Sophie's gone off there. Now, what has happened there? You just saw it there. Losing it at the kink. Here we go. Clapping the grass and almost collecting everybody. Tell you what, Mashalkova there going wide. That may have cost him almost there. But he's able to hold on to it. And that's Rigpad injured. And when I say injured, that's a broken wing. Definitely. And she's actually towed. She is actually towed. Now we look at it. Big time move there. And that is one of those that you think to yourself, that's just changed the complexity. Especially for Sophie, she was leading the race for such a while there. She had a chance to try and call herself back to P3 in the championship. But a tow, if she gets back out and races, she can still get that P7. All the points will help, especially when you, again, we stress, no Alban Kelberg. So people are looking to get points this week, and that could help them. Harry Wills goes down the pecking order to Daniel Sedgley and Ethan Bass. That looks to me, well, we've been looking at that. That looks to me like Harry Wills has had an off track, or it would not surprise me, it is a slowdown in the bus stop. And that is what my predictions are correct. It was a slowdown in the bus stop. That's the first one we've seen that's made implications here, because the gap has split out now. And we've hit the 30-minute mark. So I like to say this is where the pit window does open. Sakopa, Armstrong, Campbell came in lap 17, Bass 17, everybody else. Should I say Reynolds, Reiter, 16, Sedgley, 16. Everybody else then came in lap 15. If you're Copa, you're not looking at lap 34. You're looking at about lap 30, lap 32 at most. For the rest of the drivers, you're looking at lap 34. For the guys who pitted lap 15, you are definitely looking lap 30. So that means they've got 4 laps to try and do something right now. Of course, with Harry Wills taking that slowdown in the bus stop as Armstrong and Campbell battling. We'll get back to that little stat at the moment. As Armstrong's trying to hold on to this with Campbell. They're going to go side by side. And has there been an overlap still with Campbell? I don't think there's the overlap there. And now he just slides back in. Little bit of flashing, little bit of mind games going on here between the two veterans. of the series. As Reiter holds off, as Reynolds, holds off Reiter again. Makes you wonder, is either of these drivers going to make a move? Reynolds has to hold on to that position, but the only way Reiter's getting by that is around the outside. It's going to be tough for him to try and make that, and maybe he will be looking at a pit stop. They pitted lap 16, both of them. Now the pros went one lap extra. Can one of them go another lap? That's going to be... That's going to be an interesting statistic to have a look at when it comes to that. Campbell going to look like he's going to pull to the side of Armstrong. And he does get the run. He's got a lot of speed, and it wouldn't surprise me if Armstrong just says, okay, I'll take it. You can have it. And there you go. Both of them on the clutch. Even Campbell, who's in ahead on the clutch. They are fuel saving. Copa's now 7 seconds ahead. That is 2 seconds he has gained since they pitted. That could be game. That could be game. I'm knocking on wood. That could be game when he comes into the pits. It's not game here at the moment. Let's be brutally honest. Hardeman, does he go for another move, or is it just him taking a normal line? It is the latter. But after that slowdown for Wills, you can see that gap is just mammoth now. 4.8 seconds. Even Bass has that P3. But what a gap. The moment those two drivers got out the pits, they just took it away. And it wasn't like they were slow. Reiter, in fact, spent more time cone to cone in the pit compared to anybody else in the Pro-Ams. Mashalkaverd, just looking at that, Mashalkaverd, one of the quickest in the pit lane. So, he didn't really gain anything in the pit lane either, come to think about it. But for Juan Manuel Queo, it's a quiet drive for the Nitro Racing Team driver. Now 4.6 seconds ahead. Doesn't need to do anything extreme. Paterman is still battling Madel and Timms. That promises to be very interesting, though, in that little battle there in the amateurs. Not at the moment, but we wait to see it. Again, with no Simon Dodd now after that accident, that lap 1 accident, you've got to start looking at the amateur drivers here, Madel, Timms. They can really put a spanner in the works when it comes to who takes that P3. That's going to be... I know Simon Dodd's probably watching this now. He's had to retire the car, and you can think that he's just there thinking, you've got to drill it in. You've got to drill it in. Well, like I said, just like how in the third day of a golfing event, it's moving day, we are over that 3/4 mark of the season. It's moving day here in the World Series, and it is all going off in the World Series right now. Just all the positions. I can't remember the last time I saw a shake-up this big in the standings this late in a season. Almost everybody in the Pro-Ams is going to go up a position, with the exception, I think, of Sophie Ridpad. And then some drivers may probably do a couple switches. I'm just looking at maybe a couple switches. There goes Oscar Copa, by the way. A lap earlier. Well, I said lap 30. He comes in just before lap 30 on lap 29. So I'm kind of right there. Be interesting to see if he's able to solidify that 7 seconds that he had when he pitted. As Madel is trying to catch up to the back of Dean Timms here. You can see he's right there. That's right. Of Padaman. Dean Timms is trying to make sure he catches up. That will be 1, 2. Watch the gaps now start just closing in when they're on the start-finish stretch. On the oval they go once again. And once again, you see Reiter just taking the fuel save approach. Madel looks to be, he may do that as well, but look at that overspeed he's got. He may look to make this P2 over Padaman. Does he have the overspeed, or does he decide to just play it safe? And you know what? He would be pulling out right now if he was going to make an overtake. He's playing it safe. He's using this as advantage. Try and see if he can just etch out one more lap. That could be crucial. Around the outside, Dean Timms taking a very weird line there. Trying to get a cutback. It did work. There is a driver there. That is a lapped car there. That is Nathaniel Badero getting out of the way. I know it's the Nitro Racing Team car. It's not Juan Manuel. It's not Juan Manuel. Do not worry if you're any fans there of one. Goetz Kaseki comes into the pits. Here comes Sean Campbell. And he overtakes Goetz Kaseki. That means Fabian and James are the last 2 pros standing out there. Just like these drivers at the moment. How Harry Wills, by the way, has managed to catch up. Spins out. Spins 90 degrees after saving a car from a twitch. Gets to the front of this pack and takes P3. Takes a slowdown and goes all the way to P7. Get P6 because of the incident there with Sophie. And now he's right at the back again. He goes into the pits early. Marshall Caverd comes into the pits with him. They're the first of the pitters for the Pro-Am. Sean Campbell comes out of the pits as well. In fact, where is Sean Campbell? He actually comes out nowhere near Oscar Copa. Nowhere near. Like, there's a whole straight difference between those 2 drivers. That is pretty crazy. Now, with these 2 drivers coming to the pits as well. By the way, look at that. Juan Manuel, Michael Padaman, Dean Timms, all pitting. Andrew Madel not pitting. That slipstream allowed him to get that extra lap, and he's just going to roll the dice. Oh, that's going to be very interesting to see. Just like all these other battles there, we know the top 4 in the Pro-Ams yet to pit. James Armstrong, Fabian Scheistek yet to pit. Are they going to do it this time? Who's going to blink? They're going to go again. Why not? They've got all the time in the world. Use all this fuel to their advantage. Armstrong's happy to stay behind Fabian. The pace is looking good. They both just did their fastest laps, a 43.3 and a 43.0 respectively. Why not? There is Andrew Madel on his own. 35 seconds ahead. Is that going to be enough? It's not. Is that going to be enough to really... I don't think it'll be enough to take the lead off Juan Manuel. But can he get ahead of Michael Padaman and Dean Timms? Look at those gaps. That is a gap between each driver. So that is 3.5 between Padaman and Timms. And 3.4 between Juan Manuel and Padaman. Even Bass jumps into the pits now. It's all happening. And we remember, long pit lane now. It's not as long as the endurance pits at Spa. But you can no longer go full speed the moment you come out of the NASCAR pit lane. You've got to go all the way around turn 1. And Madel comes into the pit. That is very fast. Has he overdone it? Nope, there's the line. I saw one line and started panicking there for the sake of Madel. Was he actually going to lose it there? But he holds on. Eyes on Juan Manuel. Eyes on Padaman. Where is Madel? Madel's in his box. Juan Manuel is coming around NASCAR 4 right now. There's Padaman as well. 3.5 is the gap. There's Juan Manuel. He may get this. Well, Juan Manuel. Madel now coming out of his box. He's coming out of his box. 2 seconds. Yeah. P1's taken back there from Keher. Can Madel hold on to this P2? I tell you what, with the lap traffic, With the drivers having to get out the way for the lead pro drivers, he may have the... No, Patterman gets out ahead, but he's ahead of Dean Timms. For his sake, for that battle for P3, he's ahead of Dean Timms. That P2 would be very nice to see for him right now. He would love to take that P2. Can he? Will he? It's going to be tough. And there's all the rest of the primes all coming in. Reynolds, Reiter, Sedgley, all in the pits. Now, we know Ethan Bass won't catch up to Reynolds and Reiter. It's all on Daniel Sedgley for them. There's Ethan Bass at the moment. Where is Daniel Sedgley? He's just got into his box. Thomas Reiter and Stuart Reynolds, they have been in their box for quite a while. Reynolds is the first one to go. Will Reiter go? Where's Reiter? Where's Reiter? Reiter's taking a bit more time. Reiter's taking a bit more time. What has happened to Reiter? Thomas Reiter is still in the pits. Ethan Bass is going through right now. There's Harry Wills. There's Mashalkovud. There were tyres taken from Thomas Reiter. He was on the jacks. It has happened at the worst time, at the worst track for Thomas Reiter. He loses out. And in that battle for P2 in the championship, it falls back to Daniel Sedgley. But also Mashalkovud will get a P5. That will help him out. And of course, Reiter now, who knows what type of tyres he's on. Is he on a combination of old and new? Because he had a little bit of a twitch coming out the first horseshoe. Probably the case. Yeah, he's twitching right now. It looks like Reiter's got a mixed match of tyres. We'll look at that later. He's not in trouble of spinning out at the moment. Can Copa hold on to this? There goes Copa. Armstrong and Scheistek are there. This is going to be close. I think Copa may have this. If not, it's going to be a battle. No, Copa's got it. Copa's got it, but it's going to be very close. And in fact, we're going to get 16 minutes of very tight racing. Because look at it, they're in slipstream range. Campbell is not. Right now, Campbell is thinking, James, could you not overtake, please? I mean, could you overtake, please? Sorry, no, he wants Copa to lose out the lead because that would extend the gap to, well, I'm trying to think at the top of my head, that would be 15 points between Campbell and Copa. With 2 races to go, that would be huge. So we'll have to see. That's going to be one we got to keep our eyes out on. We got to keep our eyes now. Reynolds with a massive lead as well. Reynolds now, because of what's happened there with Reiter, he's just 6 seconds on his own. Sedgley's got a nice little lead over Ethan Bass. Harry Wills is battling Ethan Bass. Mashalkovud is behind them, waiting. By the way, Thomas Reiter did tow. Thomas Reiter has towed, and he's retired the car. That must be. We'll probably get a replay in a moment there, but that has to be a case. In fact, here we go. Well, he's already had the damage there, and if there's no hood on the front of that car, that's a heavy hit, and that is a mixed match of tyres. Probably realised when he went up on the jacks, that he had tyres ticked and unticked a couple, but just one new tyre and 3 old ones are just going to ruin anyone's race, and that is such a shame there for Thomas Reiter. You've got to feel sorry for him. Gotta be. It's a shame, just full stop. And there's Reiter. Looks like he's just losing it there as he's coming out of the bus stop at one stage. And then, I'm going to guess that is a case of frustration more than anything. It's either frustration or the tyres have just completely... Actually, no, it's actually a wheel disconnect. Oh, that could be a wheel disconnect. Did not think about that. All different possibilities there. I would hate it for anything. I can understand the frustration. But a wheel disconnect as well, that would be heartache. But that's definitely not a case of the tyres. The tyres would have affected him, full stop. That's not a case of the tyres causing that. I would hope that that is not, that is not a will issue. Could be anything, though. Could be absolutely anything. It'd be interesting to see if it was a will disconnect. If it was, then unfortunately that would be it. You know what? I'm looking at it myself. I'm just having a quick look. No, unfortunately, that's not a will disconnect. That's a shame. That's a shame. But Armstrong, again, bump drafting. What else can he do? Bit of bump drafting on Oscar Copa. Only thing he can do at the moment. He knows what he has to do. He knows what needs to be done. He's going to keep doing what he's been doing for a long time in this race, and I mean a long time. It's he's been doing the bump drafting now for what, the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I would like to say, on the rest of the drivers. So he's been doing that while the rest of the field has just been holding on, and this is just going to be a really good finish. 3 cars all in contention with 12 minutes left to go. We've got any possibility. So, will he make a move here? Will Armstrong go for the move? Again, I don't think he will. One of those moments that is not right. You see on the timing tower, Daniel Sedgley getting past Ethan Bath. There's been moves there as well. Got a battle for P2 in the Pro-Ams, but we've got to keep here. It looks like Armstrong wants to make a move, but he's smart. As I was saying earlier, if you make a move before the bus stop, you run the risk of losing it going into turn 1. He knows what he has to do, and he's just preparing himself for when the time comes. Ethan Bass now trying to find a way around Daniel Sedgley. Won't be looking for a way here, though. It's going to be more of a case of just waiting for the oval. And with these new next gen cars from NASCAR, you think to yourself, this is what they're used to, seeing if someone can get a run out of NASCAR 3 and 4 and make their way to the finish line, and that's exactly what we're getting here. But there's no draft package. It is just slipstream with those wings. Ethan Bath goes to the inside here before the bus stop. He's going to make that move. Has that paid off for him, though? Does that Ford have some sort of speed advantage? It used to. The old days of the Ford used to have the speed advantage. Can he use it to try and get around? We're talking like this is a battle for the lead. This is a battle for P2. But for championship implications, it is massive for these drivers. Harry Wills is not in with a chance of winning the championship and getting in the top 3. Daniel Sedgley would take provisional lead of the championship, but he would love it if he could just get some points and not lose 5 to Ethan Bass. Marshall Kaverd would love more points as well, but at the moment, sitting on 85, it would send him above Kelberg. Would get him in some really good positions, actually. Would probably move him up into P3 in the championship. That would be huge. Because one thing we've yet to talk about in the Pro-Ams is Andrew Madel there. Just going by. One thing we haven't talked about. Now, what's happened here? This is Dean Timms. This is Andrew Madel. Is that Madel letting Timms by with a slowdown? I think it is. It is indeed. Andrew Madel's off the case. As I was saying, with the Pro-Ams, only Sedgley and Bass has drop weeks. Everybody else has no drop weeks. And again, the same thing we're seeing here. 9.5 minutes to go. You've got to say to yourself, is there going to be a fireworks finish? And if there is, you've got to then say to yourself, can Craig hold his voice for a big finish? I think I'm the only one saying that. Everyone knows what I'd be doing at the finish line if we do get fireworks like that again. We have seen it before. We may see it again. You know, you see the orange numbers, and it's crazy to see how we're not talking 2-car battles at the end of a race here. We're talking 3-car battles. This is very vital, though, between Harry Wills gets up in between them. Harry Wills gets up in between Bass and Sedgley, just as I was going to talk about them. That's big. That turns a 5-point gap into a 10-point gap. And that all of a sudden, if it stays like this now, if the race stays like it is, Sedgley would lead the championship by 5 points. Hits Mashalkaverd. What has happened to Mashalkaverd? Do not tell me it's a spin. The Porsche, too much speed. Don't hit the wall. He's stuck in the wall. That is a shame for Mashalkaverd. But if he stays out, if he gets back out and running, that's a P5. That would still put him third in the championship. He has to stay out. He has to stay out right now. A P5 would be just what he needs for the championship. Would put him into third place. Would put him in a third place that I think at the start of the night he was not expecting. Anything can happen. Like I said, this is the biggest shakeup I've seen going this late in the championship for the championship. It's just incredible. As I was saying though, if it stays as it is right now in the Pro-Ams, Stuart Reynolds, he'd go to 430 points. He's still nowhere near. I'd put him P7. But the key thing for him, for these guys, would be Ethan Bass, Daniel Sedgley. Daniel Sedgley would lead the championship if it stayed like this by 5 points, but they're battling side by side. Harry Wills wants his P2. He's racing for himself. He's not racing for a championship. Is he going to do it one more time around the outside? No. For Ethan Bass, this is an important position to hold off. This is the difference between 5 points or 10 points. Sorry. My maths is really bad. Wow. Again, if Bass holds on to this P2, if Sedgley only gets the P4, we are looking at a 5-point gap in the Pro-Ams. And Madel needs this on Dean Timms. He needs this badly. There's 5 points between the two of them. If Madel gets this, they'll be level, and it may take him as well too close to that third place in the championship. It's a very good battle between them. Fabian's starting to look a bit racy as well. Everywhere you look at the moment, there's racing. And I know that sounds crazy because they've been bumper to bumper for an hour and 10 minutes. But now's the time that people have realized they need to start making their decisions. And remember, I like to go back to that cycling analogy, that peloton analogy. Well, the finish of the stage is a sprint race. And now they're just gearing themselves up, asking the questions. Who wants to take the lead? Who wants to do a little bit, who wants to do the chase? Who wants to just get caught off there, Who wants to go first? Who wants to make the moves? That is what's going to happen. 5 minutes remaining. In fact, Armstrong just clutched in. Did Armstrong take less fuel? I wonder. Now, that could be interesting. Daniel Sedgley is just watching Harry Wills try to make this move. As Mashalkaverd does indeed come out. He may be a lap down, but if he stays here, he will get that P3 in the championship. Armstrong, again, lifts. Fabian realizes it. Campbell, I mean, for a man we have talked so much about, Sean Campbell, his ability, his speed has been fantastic. Unfortunately, it's not been his night. And at the moment, the gap would be 15 points in the championship. That's a big gap to try and overturn with 2 races left. Again, the lift from Armstrong. Fabian thought there was a hole there. Decided against it. Just had a moment where he thought, maybe. Just maybe. We tick down to 4 minutes. We tick down to 4 minutes. Here's the important number. 43 laps is the distance for this race now. They're on lap 41. These guys batting. Stuart Reynolds has no idea what's happening around him. He's just enjoying it 9 seconds. He's probably got the most comfortable race to drive. Knock on wood. Harry Wills, Ethan Bass is going to go side by side. This might be the overdrive that Harry Wills needs. Can he make this around the outside one more time? Will he do this? They're going to try and make this stick. Can he do it? He's gone wide. He's going to try and get the cut back. Now they get the side by side. And we've seen this before. If he's side by side here, they're going to be side by side for the next corner. Can he make this work? Late braking, maybe. Side by side they go. Can Ethan Bass hold on to this side by side? Not this time. Well, I don't know, actually. There is a little bit of overlap. This is going to be risky. Will he try it? Into the kink they go. Yes, side by side. Inside is now down to Harry Wills. He's going to hold on to this. They've been side by side now for half the lap. Here he goes, side by side. Still side by side. They're still side by side. Now Ethan Bass with the inside. I think Harry Wills cannot do this. Brilliant racing by the two of them. They know, all three of these guys know there's nothing to worry about. The lead's gone. They're battling for second, third, and fourth. They can afford to hold each other up there. The respect given has gone both ways, or always, sorry, with the three drivers. Brilliant racing by those guys. Absolutely brilliant. And you have to think, Harry Wills has tried to make that move, done that move twice on Ethan Bass. The first time, Ethan had no response into the first horseshoe. The second time, Ethan had a response. The third time, Harry had a response. Lap 42 for the pros. Now, the amateurs will stay on the lead lap. That is crucial. When I say the amateurs, that is everybody in the top four will stay on the lead lap. Here they go again. And actually now this time it is going to be Daniel Sedgley who makes the move. Will he try and go around the outside of Ethan Bass? The championship contenders are side by side. And I don't think Sedgley's managed to hold on to this. He has not. He's now in a battle with Harry Wills. And he may have to just hold off to this right now. Will he hold off to it? He does. That's a shame. He wants to make this stick. He cannot make it stick. Such is the life here. It's so tough around here to make those moves. In the pros, you're missing nothing. It is still the same as they're about to take the white flag. Does Armstrong look for a move here? Does he finally decide to play the move? No. He's going to wait. Oh, he's going to leave it all with one lap to go. This is how he wants it. Fabian sees it as well. This is going to be so tight. Do not expect any moves until out of the bus stop. If Armstrong gets the best bus stop, we're looking at a drag race. And it's going to be a tight one. Last time he was in a drag race at the final laps of Daytona in the World Series, he beat Sean Campbell, by 6 thousandths of a second. Or was it 600ths? It was a photo finish. That's all you need to know. My memory's a bit fuzzy from a year ago. This is going to be tight. We know the battle is going to happen between Bass, Wills, and Sedgley as well. Andrew Maidell's holding on to that P3, that crucial P3 in the amateurs. This is just going to be tense. The pros hit the oval one more time. Wills is trying to go around the outside of Bass one more time. Can he do it? Oh, no, let's not do it again. Let's not do it again. And he's gone too wide. He's gone too wide. He's going to have to be battling Daniel Sedgley right now. Sedgley may hold on to this. In fact, Wills realizes that. But he's still going to fight this. He's a fighting man. He's going to fight this. But out of the bus stop now. Get ready for the pros. Armstrong and Copa are at the bus stop. The gap is 0.3 of a second. And Copa takes the high side. He takes the high side. Did he tap the wall? Who knows? He's trying to hold up Armstrong here. Armstrong's going to have to go for a move. Down the oval they go to get the speed. Armstrong's going to need to look for a move here. He goes for the move. Side by side they're going to go. Armstrong's got the speed. He's got the speed. Here comes Fabian. Who gets it? Who gets it? James Armstrong. Fabian sides they take P2 from Copa by 9 thousandths. What implications to the championship? Campbell is licking his lips after that. Wow! And now we've got the rest of them. We've got the pro-ams. Sedgley, can he make a move? He's not going to be able to get past Ethan Bass unless there's anything going on here. We'll wait. We'll watch. Everybody calm down. I don't think it's going to happen. There's Stuart Reynolds. He's going to take the victory. He will take this victory. A fantastic drive from Stuart. But can Wills make a move? What about Sedgley? Can any of these drivers make any last positions? Sedgley's got a lot of overspeed right now. Look out 1 second. Is it going to be a late move for Sedgley? He pulls to the side. He can't make it. Ethan Bass takes it. I'll tell you what's important about that, though. Sedgley stays a position behind Bass. 10 points is the gap between the Pro-Ams now at the top of the field. And we've got a little bit of a race in the amateurs. Can Panamon catch up to Juan Manuel? He cannot. But at the back, a very crucial battle for P3. Can Dean Timms pull something out the bag from this Ferrari? He's got a lot of overspeed. He's got a lot of speed. Can he make the stick to the line? He cannot. Wow. How many close battles there did we get? Wow. And to give you a little indication, the gap between Cooper and Scheisek was exactly what you saw. 9 thousandths of a second. Actually, now looking at it, Cooper's been given the victory. They've been given the P2, sorry. So that means the gap, there you go. There it is. It's a dead heat. On that live timing, we saw 9 thousandths. But then they called it a dead heat, and Cooper takes P2 from Fabian. Armstrong did, of course, get that victory. Wow. And then says Fabian P4. Pro-Ams were just insane as well. Look at that. Stuart Reynolds takes the victory. Ethan Bass will be P2. Daniel Sedgley P3. He will take the championship lead. Harry Wills 4th. Marshall Caverd will be 5th. He takes P3 in the championship. Bass gets that P2. I'm losing my breath here. I can't believe what we've just seen. Championship standings, though, it's going to be changed for the amateurs, though. The gap is now 5 points. Walman Wakea will take the victory away from Michael Patterman. Andrew Madel gets that P3 from Dean Timms. Then it's Werner S. and Goetz Gasecki a lap down. And then Angel Badero was 10 laps down. Timothy van der Broek was 14. Simon Dodd 33. And Atrad Al-Haddad was 43. What does that do to the standings for the amateurs? 5 point difference going into the rest week. And Michael Patterman does not have a drop. We'll have to look when it comes to the standings as well, because Simon Dunn, Dean Teams have a drop. Andrew Madel does not have a drop. Let's get Ethan Bass in for a moment, because I'm a little bit... everything's a little bit... I've never seen such close racing like that in my life, Ethan. That must have been very interesting to watch, because at one stage you were at the back of the Pro-Ams just taking your time and just waiting.
Yeah, in the opening stint, everyone's kind of fuel saving. Everyone was being very gamesmanship in the opening bit. There was a couple of times where I tried to get to the front of the back, because if I got to the front, I could probably pull away, but it wasn't successful. And I did get the extra lap on the field, but I was coughing in pit lane, so I think that cost me, put me at the back for the second stint of the race.
Yeah, I mean, that was one. I think you were one of the last ones to pit as well. In this race, I know the fuel saving is all very good, but at the end of the day, would you say it was more of a hindrance? Especially like if you fuel saved, you were going to lose out on speed. So did you find it was better to pit with everybody else?
I probably should have pitted with everybody else on the first one, but on the second one, I just pitted because I saw we were catching traffic, and it wasn't much fuel saving going on there, because with the lost time, I just needed to get back in front of Daniel mainly. So I just really kind of gunned it. I probably took a bit more fuel than he needed to for that second bit, but again, if I can pass me.
Well, did we just lose Ethan there? Did he just cut out there?
Yes.
Yeah, he just cut out there. Sorry, yeah.
I mentioned I figured that on after the first stop, if I can pass Daniel once, I can pass him again, even if he jumps me. So I was quite comfortable just gunning it, because the pace was in there in the car. It was a lot of fun tonight, and a lot of fun with Harry going side by side through the kink multiple times.
Oh, tell me, because I think you went side by side 3 times in that race. The first time he got around you into turn 1, then he was able to overtake in the first horseshoe. The second time, you were able to get around him in the first horseshoe and get him before the kink. And then the third time, I was kind of holding on to my hair. I mean, I don't say it's that hard racing, but the respect, how much respect do you need when you're the guy on the inside and you know that the guy on the outside has to take a different line? How much respect is needed there?
I just knew how I just needed to not turn in super early, and I was just the one lifting on the inside. I wasn't keeping it flat ever and going side by side for the kink because, yeah, I need to survive these races, and I'm happy to survive one at Daytona now. Get a bit of fun, and I'm happy with a podium there. Fair job to Stuart. Him and Thomas just got away after that first pit stop. I tried to catch them after I got past Daniel, but ended up just not having the pace, and I think I burned out the tires. Kind of thing, and it started to slide a lot more than I expected. So that's just me hustling it, but it was good fun, put it that way. It was more fun than just constant fuel saving because, yeah, that gets tiresome sometimes. It's only 75 minutes. It's not a 24-hour race. Come on, let's go.
So, one more question before we go. It's Monza in 2 weeks. There's a 5 points difference, just with the quick maths I've been working out. I mean, Monza's a very good track for you, so what do we expect to see?
Well, thankfully we get 2 weeks of break now, which I'm happy enough about. Then I can grind some time in the Ford round Monza. The chicanes, we'll see how things go. Chicanes are never the strongest. I was actually surprised how I was actually losing a lot of time to the BMW of Harry and through the bus stop tonight. I must not have put enough rake in the car, trying to gear it too much for the top end. But I think Monza should be okay. Again, it's survived those opening laps where the tires are cold, and then you should be okay.
Any shout-outs before we let you go?
Good thanks to you boys, Race Anywhere, Go for the Gap, and Driver 61 for all the hosting. Absolute sim racing you lads on the comms. I think was it just you tonight?
Just me. Don't worry.
Yeah, and then thanks to everyone at Text.
Can't do it without Steve. Yep.
Fitztai and Fight Cholera Cancer for helping us out. Hopefully Monza will be good fun. Let's have first off, a little break. Thank God.
Well, Ethan, enjoy your break. Hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks, and all the best. And until then, take care.
Thanks very much, Coke. I'll catch you around.
And now we've got the championship leader for the amateurs. And Michael, it was a very close one at the end there.
Yes.
I think it was half a second. Were you expecting it to be close at the end there?
Not after my first mistake in the first corner I spin. So I thought, okay, let's try to get some points. But I have to say, congratulations to Juan Manuel. He was really strong today. So I had no chance. Maybe if we fight 3 more laps, but yeah, it was done. And also say congratulations to Marl and teams. They were also strong. So I had some panic about that they're always catching me on the straight. They had both a strong car.
Yeah, every car out there today was very strong. How did you find as well the train of cars? Because there was there was a big train at the start for everybody. Did that take you by surprise? Did that change any of your driving? Did you find yourself fuel saving?
No, I had no chance because I lose too much time to the train. So I drive the most of the time at the start alone. So I think about the fuel saving, but I said, okay, let's push. And yeah. So in the end, maybe I had to save some fuel and I had more chances on the pit stop to overtake Juan. But yeah, congratulations to him. He was today stronger. I hope I'm in 2 weeks stronger than him.
Yes, there's at the top of my head, there's 5 points between the two of you. What are we looking forward to? Are you looking forward to Monza? Is it one of your favorite tracks? I know it's got a reputation, but you know.
Not really. I had a little bit panic of the T1 because if you see the official races, they always crash the most of the time. So yeah, I hope it will not happen here because we have here really good drivers and the most of them are really looking forward not to crash in the first lap and not to win in the first lap. That's the important part for this group. That's what I really like in this season and in this league.
Yeah, the amateurs have proven proven to have some fantastic racing, as with every other class, but it's always nice to see the amateurs just spreading their wings out and having some really good racing. Michael, before we let you go, is there any shout outs you'd like to give?
Thank you for the league, for the Race Anywhere, and also thank you that we have next week a short break. We need it. And good luck for the
Michael.
trainer.
Thank you. Yes, all the best, Michael. Enjoy your week off. Have a very pleasant rest next Wednesday, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks at Monza.
Thank you. You too. Have a nice night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That will be all she wrote for another amazing night at Daytona. Whoever said Daytona was boring? Come here to the World Series. See a race at the World Series and tell me Daytona's boring. That was brilliant to see a photo finish in every class tonight. Brilliant racing, and I loved it. If you liked what you saw, please give us a like and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to click the bell for more broadcasts, because we do have the World Series Endurance League coming up soon, which we've got the streams all ready for you to check the dates out, as well as the America Series coming up as well later tonight, I believe. But of course, a shout out to our sponsors, Race Anywhere, with their website, raceanywhere.co.uk, for providing the sponsorships. Also, shout out to Sim3D as well for doing the sponsors. And of course, a shout out to Steve. Fantastic job on the cameras. I think everybody will agree. Doing everything we need, getting us all the cameras we need to see. But for myself, Craig King, and of course, Steve, proudly, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. I will see you in 2 weeks. We will see you in 2 weeks. We're going to have a nice rest next week as we enjoy the chaos that is week 13 on iRacing. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, keep yourselves safe, and we shall see you next time. Until then, have a good evening.